Morning, friends. I want to present the article Jerusalem, Zion, and the Unique Servant of Yahweh in the New Heaven and New Earth, a study on recovering identity versus lamenting faded glory. Isaiah 1 to 5 and 65 to 66 by K.D. Jenner. This is the very last article of 25 that we've read this semester in our seminar on the book of Isaiah. The article is actually very simple. The thesis, the proposal that the author makes is very, very simple. But I want to present the highlights of this article. So, notice that there is, Jenner wants to focus on the opening chapters of the book of Isaiah and the closing chapters. He believes that they provide an inclusio, so chapters 1 to 5 and 65 to 66. So in other words, these two are the bookends of the book of Isaiah. The one side of the envelope structure and the other side, one side being chapters 1 to 5, the other side chapters 65 to 66. At the outset, Jenner says that Isaiah 1 and 2, or more precisely 1:1 to 2:5, are a manifesto for the establishment of Yahweh's theocracy. And then he says that the next 59 chapters are the unfolding of said theocracy. And chapters 65 to 66 are the latter part of the manifesto representing Yahweh's theocracy. In other words, he suggests that the book of Isaiah is a proposal, a very strong advancement of the idea of Yahweh's rule that he describes as a theocracy. There is, in the next point, the next major point that he makes, he suggests that there is a process in 5 phases that get one from Jerusalem and Zion as the center of the new heaven and the new earth. So he suggests that there is a crisis period. Number 1, there's a crisis period from Uzziah to Hezekiah, which covers chapters 6 to 39. And this phase phase chronicles the failures of the monarchy and the society. This section, this phase, deals with the constant state of crisis, threats of war, and profound identity crisis in Jerusalem and Zion. The second phase, the second stage of this process of getting from Jerusalem and Zion to the new heavens and new earth, is the crisis proper and its related perception. He says nevertheless that there is very small information or very scant information on this. Quote, there is a very serious lack of evidence concerning social processes, perceptions of group and collective or individual emotions. Close quote, page 173. The third phase is the rise of hope and subsequent ideology, chapters 40 to 48. Here the Judeans forge a new identity born out of their experience of disaster. Quote, the new identity is related to the in-group, out-group mechanism, which is expressed in the need for exclusivity and particularity, and the perception of the superiority of Yahweh and his people, connected with feelings of aggression toward his adversaries. Close quote, page 174. The fourth phase is The realization of this ideology, which may involve support and rejection, success and failure. This is actually a quote. A struggle for survival, as past experiences flashback, it is a struggle to the very end, and this is chapters 49 to 56. Maybe it would be good at this point to pause, to make a parenthesis, and then to actually suggest to disclose what Jenner's proposal really is. He suggests that the entire book of Isaiah is a play, or more properly, the entire book of Isaiah is a script for a play, in which there are a number of roles, and the two most prominent roles are those played by Yahweh, God, and then on the other hand, Jerusalem, Zion, which also has a primary role. So once again, the book of Isaiah as a script for a play. I should mention that this is not that innovative. The American scholar J.D. Watts had proposed this 25 years ago in the commentary that he wrote for the Word Biblical Commentary series on the book of Isaiah in 2 volumes. Watts suggests that Isaiah is a play. Okay. The fifth phase is here a victim either forgets or is able to repress past experiences, and this is chapters 57 to 66. I'm gonna put on my glasses because I'm having trouble reading the small print. Okay, the issue of the roles. Jenner uses here a lot of theater terminology. Jerusalem and Zion play the role of the servant. Many other roles are discernible. Setting for this play is the new Babylonian Empire and Jerusalem. Quote, these events are heuristically represented as a role play on the global political stage. Each role has its function and prescribes what the relevant player has contributed to the past or may contribute to the near future. On the one hand, Yahweh is the invisible producer and sovereign authority behind the curtains. On the other hand, he also participates in different roles in the scene. Close quote. On the issue, so the deity has a series of roles himself. Jerusalem and Zion also have not just one but several roles, and as well as God has several roles. Other players, let me quote from page 178. The following role players identify themselves with Yahweh's performance, accept his absolute authority, and are obedient to his commandments. The servants of Yahweh, including the unique servant, the saints in Jerusalem and Zion, and the pilgrims who glorify him in his sanctuary and find comfort and instruction there. The interests of Yahweh and his adherents coincide. Babel represents or appears to play a minor role. This is but a semblance. At first, this city as well as the related empire are Yahweh's instrument in bringing his unfaithful wife to heel. H-E-E-L. Then they become the very adversaries of Yahweh, the worst, as soon as they forget their original role. Cities and empires that have a worldwide good reputation are also adversaries of Yahweh, and therefore take a minor position in the book of Isaiah. Close quote, again from page 178. A major disclosure that Jenner makes in this article is that he believes that the city of Jerusalem and Zion are the unique servant of Yahweh, As you may remember, this term is particularly important in chapters 40 to 55, and then later in chapters 56 to 66, the expression morphs into the plural servants. But Jenner believes that Jerusalem, Zion, is the unique special servant of Yahweh. And this is how he defends this thesis, this proposal that Jerusalem, Zion, is the unique servant of Yahweh. Quote, several categories of personalities are indicated as servant of Yahweh. Jacob and Israel both play the role of the servant of Yahweh. The people and the alien who obeys Yahweh are also his servants. Yet, Zion is the unique servant of Yahweh. The book of Isaiah remarkably does not mention the name of this servant. It is, however, likely that he is one of the roles of the personified Zion. In Isaiah 54:17, Yahweh's wife is approached as his servant. Yahweh has only one wife, Zion, Jerusalem. So, Zion is the servant. This is the first argument. The second one is that Yahweh names Zion his people, while this is also reputed to be so for the servant of Yahweh. Besides, Zion and the unique servant of Yahweh are both alluded to as being hit and despised. This indisputable observation is the third argument, close quote, page 179. So, how was and why was the book of Isaiah written? So we suggested already that the Jenner believes that the book is a script, but he believes that this is the script that was written by basically temple personnel, folks that religious professionals, he calls them, who had lost their livelihood as a result of the city's demise and the temple's demise. So in other words, these people had lost their livelihood, their job, their employment, and then they come up with this book to try to reassert in the minds of the Judeans the importance of Yahweh as sole creator, as sole God. And also, this is kind of a, yes, I recognize it's kind of a cynical reading, but he also, Jenner also points out that the book exhibits the traits of trauma. In other words, when an individual or a society goes through trauma, through disaster, there are a series of steps, phases, stages, and he actually notices these stages, these phases in the book of Isaiah. This, of course, is something that he draws from the psychology of religion. So his is not a exclusively or only historical emphasis or focus, but rather he uses a different strategy for reading the book of Isaiah. And this is part of something that has happened in the last 30 years as folks have attempted to use other methodologies or other strategies for reading biblical literature, especially the social sciences. Jenner uses psychology and psychology of religion, reiterating someone that goes through a crisis, through trauma, goes through these phases, and these are the phases that he discovers. He realizes that this approach has limitations. Let me just quote something that he says. In general, the results of the psychohistorical analysis of documents for the past have limited value. They are the products of the later perception of someone from another culture and society, and they may therefore suffer from this selective and biased memory and his cognitive predisposition. The most serious problem is that the description of the psychological makeup of the persons in question cannot be verified because they are dead, close quote. So in other words, the value of this kind of reading is limited. There is no way really to inquire from the writers whether this is what they were feeling, because they cannot tell us, right? What they do tell us is in the text, which, as we have seen this semester, is really open to multiple interpretations. But this is one of those methods in which one may open possibilities that other methodologies may not offer, may not open for us. So this is Jenner's article, and Jerusalem, Zion, and the unique servant of Yahweh in the new heaven and the new earth, a study on recovering identity versus lamenting faded glory, Isaiah 1 to 5 and 65 through 66. Thank you so much.